This is Ralph Guillaume of the Washington Redskins introducing Hail to the Redskins.
Ever since Franklin D. Roosevelt was president, Washington's marching band has punctuated thousands of points with that favorite tune. If you've been to a home game at Griffith Stadium, RFK, or Northwest Stadium, you've probably seen or heard the ensemble. They're decked out in team colors, be it the frigid cold or the raging heat, playing their hearts out. As the oldest marching band in the league, the group even has collection items in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. The evolution of Washington's marching band and what they've added to game days for nearly 90 years is, pardon the pun, major. This is Hail Tales, stories from Washington football history. The marching band. When he was young, Washington's very first owner, George Preston Marshall, had grandiose dreams of being an actor. Those ambitions were derailed when he was drafted in World War I, but his love for drama and entertainment never went anywhere. Dan Alpert, a member of Washington's marching band for 22 years and the band's archivist, explains.
George Preston Marshall was an incredible showman, from what I understand. He was married to a silent movie star, Corinne Griffith, and he got in his head as soon as he had the Redskins here in D.C. that he wanted to really put on a show. Obviously, he wanted to attract fans and all that sort of thing, but he mostly wanted to have a incredible game day experience as much as possible for the people that would attend the games. Now, as I understand it, of course, I wasn't there, but as I understand it, he basically also wanted to attract women to the games. It was very much a male-dominated attendance, I guess, back then. So he was trying to add elements that might be attractive to women that would then bring their husbands to the games and all that sort of thing. So I guess he, in conjunction with his wife, decided to put on a spectacular halftime show every week.
These halftime shows included circus animals, ballet, fast movie reviews. It was Marshall's passion for a halftime spectacle that eventually led to the establishment of the marching band. The seeds were planted in 1937, the same year that the team moved from Boston to Washington, D.C. Knowing Marshall and Griffith loved a good show, and being made up of many fans, the Chestnut Farms Dairy Band wrote asking to perform at a couple games. They did, and so did some other local bands that season. Marshall combined the Chestnut Farms Dairy Band, along with one of those others, to form the official 150-person Washington Marching Band.
I think at that time, Marshall was trying to, was still experimenting, I think, more than anything else as far as what would work for a halftime show. So that idea, because marching bands were already popular starting, let's say, in the early 1900s as far as college bands and that sort of thing, he was trying to, I think, incorporate a certain element that was similar to what was going on at college games to the Crow games. Because at that time, there were no Crow teams that had marching bands whatsoever. So he was experimenting. He was trying to be an innovator, and he was trying to be at the forefront of trying to attract different sorts of people that to the games that might be interested in, even if they weren't terribly interested in football, they'd be maybe excited about the halftime shows.
Washington's band got off to a hot start. So proud of and invested in this unprecedented band project, Marshall apparently was involved in the writing and choreographing of each and every halftime show. And not only did the marching band perform during homestands in those early years, they also went on the road from time to time.
As I understand it, basically when they went to major, just more or less local cities. Like they would go to Pittsburgh, Cleveland, New York, and Brooklyn for away games in the early years. They used to always go to the New York games the first 4 or 5 years. They'd take the train out to New York. They'd play the Giants. And in fact, they'd perform on Broadway every year. They did a parade down Broadway either before or after the game. I'm not certain which. So that was, again, I think part of the showmanship as far as George Preston Marshall trying to draw attention to the team in general and the band, somewhat as an adjunct as far as an advertising medium for the team.
There's a great story from that 1937 season when the band traveled home after the team beat the Giants in New York. After getting back to D.C. at 11 p.m., the band and fans started victory marching down Pennsylvania Avenue. They were stopped by the police because they didn't have a permit. Marshall tried to argue, it didn't work. So he had the band secretly meet him a couple blocks down the road to keep the victory march rolling. Pretty much right after they started playing, the police, of course, came to stop it. And since they couldn't arrest the entire band, the cops decided to arrest the band chief. The marshals put up his $25 bail and got him out later. By hook or by crook, the early years were all about establishing the presence of the band. And as any marching band knows, if you want to be legit, you gotta have a fight song. Interestingly enough, during one of the first rehearsals, the band's musicians suggested that a very popular song back then called Onward Christian Soldiers be Washington's fight song. The Marshalls, though, wanted a number the band could call its own.
I'm David Brieskin, the son of Barney Brieskin. My father was the composer of Hail to the Redskins.
Barney Brieskin was the band leader at the time.
Actually, he called Corinne Griffith on the phone and played the song for her. And this was my dad's personal story, that she liked the song, but he wasn't crazy about it. She really talked her husband into it. He was not for having a song. He wasn't really interested in it, and she had him listen to it on the phone. She, I think, talked him into it. Part of the credit of the lyrics goes to her.
The fight song was copyrighted on August 17th, 1938, Barney Brieskin's 28th birthday. And the band started playing it at games from then on. Now, who exactly made up the marching band? Obviously, talented musicians, but these were folks from all different vocations, ranging from painters and mechanics to lawyers and shoe salesmen. Band members, at least in those beginning years, could be rather young. In one article I got from Dan Alpert, band member Bobby Bunky Gretton remembers the thrill of his first time performing with the band when he was only 14 years old. Other characteristics of the band really reflected the American society in which they were operating in at the time.
Marching bands in particular were considered to be a province of, a guys' club kind of thing, I think, in many respects. So I don't think it was until probably, now there were already women in the band when I was there in the 1980s, but I don't think there were many.
Cindy Keys, who was a member of the band in the 80s with Alpert, recalls in an article that there were only 6 female members when she joined in 1982. Keys holds the distinction of being the first woman to conduct Washington's marching band.
In one article I read also, as far as racial inclusion, now it was an all-white band, I think, at the very beginning, and apparently, again, as far as how times changed, Washington was criticized as being one of the very last teams in the NFL to hire black players. And I think there is a certain element of people being upset with the Redskins organization for not having minorities. So as I read an article in the 50s or so, our band director specifically tried to recruit African-American players into the band, would write to all the different high schools, trying to encourage people to try out, and would get nothing. Would get absolute silence whatsoever. Now, I'm assuming then that when the team became more integrated, the band also became more integrated. So it was, I'd say, a good 30, 40, 50% as far as integration, shall we say, as times changed over from the time when the band was first formed in the 1930s to the time I joined, for example, in the early 1980s.
The band blossomed throughout the mid-century period and into those glorious years under Joe Gibbs. Dozens of people helped behind the scenes with uniforms, musical arrangements, instrument transport, and so much more. The band gained a reputation as being a very serious and dedicated operation. Members would travel as far as 2 hours away to get to rehearsals. Highly coveted spots opened up infrequently, and news of auditions spread mostly by word of mouth. At one point, there was even a practice squad of 25 musicians who were waiting for their chance to break into the active roster, you might say. Game after game, this well-oiled, energetic ensemble contributed with their own skills to Washington's home field advantage. In an article about the band in the 60s, Gretton recalls how the group sat on the 50-yard line behind the visiting team, quote, just for irritation.
I'd like to think that we annoyed the other team a little bit in such a way that we could be given a little bit of an advantage.
Trumpet line chief Jay Wells remembers in the 70s how the band playing the fight song became a cue for fans to begin the infamous rocking of the stands at RFK Stadium. And then there was Dallas Week. On the night before the big game, the band was known to march and play down the streets of Georgetown. Nightclubs would actually invite them in to play. Dallas Week was the concert. Georgetown was our stage. And we were firing up the fans for the big game, saxophone player Stefan Monica said. Washington's marching band has gone through changes over the years. But so many of the elements that have made it special for almost 9 decades remain. Members come from all different backgrounds, as the band's current musical director, Jeffrey Doken, notes.
I think that through line of the amateurism coming from the early days, it still holds true today that the people are there because they want to be there. It's not like every game we're going out and bringing in ringers. You have to go through an audition process, a pretty strict audition process. And, with the marching and with the playing, there's a ton of music to learn. Game days are extremely long. Now, it's super fun, but it is hard. It's arduous, right? And so if you didn't really want to be there, if you didn't really love being in marching band and love the Commanders franchise, you would not be there. And so I love that we can trace that back to the sheet metal workers and the plumbers and all that. I don't know. I imagine we probably still have plumbers in the band today.
Being in the marching band continues to be a really significant space and community for many musicians, as band trumpeter Benita Gladney explains.
When you don't have to play your instrument, you kind of miss it. It's probably like sports people. That's why they go and run in gyms now. They used to play basketball in high school and maybe they didn't make the college football team or basketball team. So they find themselves in gyms and they run every weekend or they run every evening. And so you end up missing it because you put so much time into your craft, whether it's sports or whether it's music, you put so much time in. And then it gets to a point like, I miss it. I miss doing it. And so when I went to a football game and I heard the band, I'm like, that's a live band. Because I didn't know they actually had a marching band. And so when the opportunity came around to audition, so I auditioned. And I told the band directors in my audition, I said, I just want to play music again. I just want to play music that's fun.
Fans still love and look forward to their music, as longtime band member Luis Perez will tell you.
From the moment anybody sees us, nowadays all the cell phones are getting whipped out because they want to get a video and just take pictures with us. If we stopped anywhere where we're moving around and we just happen to stop, people will immediately jump in front of us and kind of turn around, take a selfie. It just creates a little bit more buzz, I think.
The energy the marching band brings keeps on making Washington game days one of a kind.
Sports are one of these great things that for a couple hours every weekend, people forget about what else is going on in their lives, right? And if we can be some small part of that, I mean, that's an amazing opportunity for us. And I want people to know that the game day experience doesn't start at kickoff. It starts way before that with us doing our parade, us doing our Legends Plaza set. So having this conversation right now, it's important to let people know, like, come on out, bring your family, spend a day enjoying everything, get the food, hear the music, and then also watch some football. Because football on TV, we're watching football. Football in the stadium is an experience.
This episode of Hail Tales was narrated, produced, and researched by me, Hannah Lichtenstein, senior copywriter for the Washington Commanders. It was produced and edited by Jason Johnson. Executive producers are Ryan Yoakum and Kevin Klein. Graphics designed by Zach Osborne and Matt Cashman. Special thank you to Dan Alpert for the historical materials referenced in this show. And thank you for listening. Voting is now open for the 2025 People's Choice Podcast Awards. Vote now for Hail Tales for Best Historical Podcast. Go to podcastawards.com.